In October, jurors in Los Angeles will consider whether to give the serial killer known as the Hollywood Ripper the death penalty. 43-year-old Michael Gargiulo was convicted earlier this summer of a string of brutal attacks on young women. It's the subject of a special 2-hour season premiere of 48 Hours tomorrow night.
Mila Kunis has found herself at the center of controversy surrounding Ashley Ellerin's tragic death due to her defense of Ashton Kutcher. Allegations have surfaced claiming Ashton lied to law enforcement during the investigation, prioritizing his career over reporting the crime. This has drawn criticism for potentially delaying justice and enabling the serial killer to strike again. Mila's support for Ashton, despite the damaging claims, has raised ethical questions, leading many to question the couple's integrity amid this troubling scandal. Ashton Kutcher's actions on the night of Ashley Ellerin's murder. Ashton Kutcher's behavior on the night Ashley Ellerin was murdered has become a major point of controversy, especially in light of renewed attention to his ties with Danny Masterson and Scientology. According to multiple accounts, Ashton was set to take 22-year-old Ashley to a post-Grammy Awards party on February 21, 2001, but arrived late. In his initial testimony, he claimed that he never entered her home, instead looking through a window and mistaking what he thought was spilled wine for something harmless. However, fresh allegations from former Scientologist Chrissy Bixler and others suggest a more troubling series of events. Chrissy says she overheard Ashton calling Masterson from his car after allegedly walking inside Ashley's house and discovering her body. Instead of contacting the police, Ashton reportedly spent over an hour consulting his management and close associates, including Masterson, about how to handle the situation without jeopardizing his budding career. The plan, Chrissy alleges, was for Ashton to leave and attend the party alone, then later tell authorities he saw only wine on the floor before deciding Ashley was simply upset with him for being late. These claims are bolstered by researcher Aaron Smith-Levin, who cites sources within the LAPD as saying they determined Ashton was not truthful in his statements. Investigators reportedly concluded he could not have seen blood from outside the house, as he originally testified. They also purportedly found evidence of Ashton's presence inside the home, which, if true, might have introduced confusion and damaged the prosecution's ability to swiftly convict Ashley's killer, Michael Gargiulo. Given that Gargiulo went on to harm another victim before finally being caught, many critics blame Ashton's alleged lies for hindering a more rapid resolution. Mila Kunis's role in this controversy has added fuel to the fire, as she has continued to defend Ashton publicly, both in this case and more recently in support of Danny Masterson. While Mila has not given a detailed statement about Ashley's death, her steadfast loyalty to Ashton has raised eyebrows among observers who question whether she is aware of or willing to acknowledge the serious accusations leveled against him. They argue that her willingness to stand by Ashton no matter what casts doubt on her moral stance, given the gravity of the allegations. Chrissy Bixler's allegations. Chrissy Bixler's allegations have cast a new, unsettling light on Ashton Kutcher's involvement in the events surrounding Ashley Ellerin's murder, and by extension, on Mila Kunis's unwavering defense of her husband. According to Bixler, who dated Danny Masterson at the time and was involved with Scientology, she overheard a speakerphone conversation on February 21, 2001, in which Ashton allegedly revealed he had walked into Ashley's home and found her lifeless body. Yet instead of calling the police, he spent over an hour consulting with Masterson and his management team about how best to handle the situation. The supposed outcome was that Ashton continued on to a party without reporting Ashley's death, reportedly prioritizing his public image over immediate concern for the crime scene. This version of events directly contradicts Ashton's testimony, in which he claimed he only peeked through a window, mistook blood for spilled wine, and left when Ashley failed to answer the door. Bixler, however, accuses Ashton of having lied both to investigators and in court, suggesting that his testimony helped create reasonable doubt during the prosecution of Michael Gargiulo, the man eventually convicted of killing Ashley. As shared by researcher Aaron Smith-Levin, some LAPD detectives concluded Ashton's statement did not align with physical evidence, such as the sightlines from the window or blood spatter found at the scene. Critics argue these allegations point to a troubling possibility. that Ashton's alleged dishonesty about his actions might have hampered the investigation, allowing Gargiulo to remain free long enough to commit another murder before he was finally caught. The question of why Ashton would risk perjury naturally gives way to the possibility he was under pressure from Danny Masterson. Masterson, a longtime Scientologist, has been suggested by some observers to hold damaging information about Ashton's behavior that night, implicating the church's culture of secrecy in the process. Mila Kunis's steadfast support of Ashton throughout these accusations has stirred its own share of controversy. Some find her loyalty admirable, while others criticize her for seemingly overlooking serious allegations that her husband may have knowingly obstructed the truth behind a brutal crime. Her defense of Danny Masterson, culminating in a recent character letter, has only fueled skepticism, with many questioning whether she is willingly ignoring key details for the sake of preserving reputations. Contradictory testimony. When Ashton Kutcher testified about the night Ashley Ellerin was murdered in 2001, he painted a seemingly straightforward picture. He arrived at her home, looked through a window, and saw what he believed was spilled wine on the floor. He claimed she never answered the door, so he left, assuming she was upset over his tardiness. However, according to allegations from multiple sources, including former Scientologist Chrissy Bixler and researcher Aaron Smith-Levin, that account may be just the tip of the iceberg. Their claims suggest Ashton actually entered Ashley's home, saw her lying on the floor, and left to call not the police, but Danny Masterson and his management team. This is where the contradictions begin to mount. Ashton testified in court that he never set foot inside Ashley's home, but detectives reportedly found evidence suggesting he did. Furthermore, Chrissy Bixler says she overheard Ashton, on speakerphone with Danny Masterson, explaining how he discovered Ashley's body. Rather than immediately alerting authorities, Ashton allegedly spent over an hour discussing how best to protect his nascent career. The story about seeing spilled wine from outside was, in this version, a deliberate fabrication meant to minimize his involvement at the crime scene. These alleged lies had tangible consequences. Police investigators knew Ashton's statements were inconsistent with the physical evidence, but their hands were tied. By the time Ashton finally spoke to the authorities, precious hours had passed, hours in which vital clues could have been compromised or lost. What's more, detectives were concerned that Ashton, one of the prosecution's most high-profile witnesses, might unravel their case. If his testimony was proven false in a courtroom, Michael Gargiulo, the actual killer, could exploit that doubt and slip through the cracks. Indeed, Gargiulo went on to strike again before he was ultimately caught and convicted. Critics argue that Ashton's contradictory testimony was about more than just panicking. It was about preserving his own public image. This perceived self-preservation, they say, extended well beyond that night.
The headline of this video is Ashton Kutcher's lies allowed a murderer to kill again.
And may explain why Mila Kunis has staunchly defended him, even after details emerged that appear damning. Some believe Kunis either doesn't know the full story or is willing to overlook it to protect their tight-knit Hollywood brand. Regardless of her motivations, the fact remains that Ashton's shifting account attracted the spotlight and harsh moral judgments. Impact on the prosecution. The impact of Ashton Kutcher's alleged actions on the prosecution of Ashley Ellerin's killer has become a hotly debated topic, particularly in light of recent revelations and renewed interest in the case. According to multiple sources, including former Scientologist Chrissy Bixler and researcher Aaron Smith-Levin, Ashton's purported dishonesty the night Ashley was murdered introduced significant complications for law enforcement. As these accounts go, Ashton was far more involved in discovering Ashley's body than he initially claimed, and that discrepancy reportedly allowed Michael Gargiulo, dubbed the Hollywood Ripper, to evade immediate prosecution. By Ashton's public testimony, he knocked on Ashley's door back in 2001, peeked through a window, and left upon seeing what he thought was spilled wine. However, according to Chrissy Bixler, she heard an hour-long phone call in which Ashton allegedly admitted he'd actually entered the house and seen Ashley's body. Instead of calling the police right away, he is said to have phoned his management and Danny Masterson, seeking advice on how to handle the situation without damaging his career. Chrissy claims Ashton was ultimately told to leave, attend the Grammys after-party alone, and later concoct a version of events that minimized his involvement. From a law enforcement perspective, these alleged distortions of the truth proved detrimental. Levin asserts that LAPD detectives recognized Ashton's story didn't align with the physical evidence, such as the position of Ashley's body and the sightlines from the window. Detectives reportedly deduced that he wouldn't have been able to see the spilled wine from outside. Furthermore, if Ashton's fingerprints were at the scene, yet he testified he never entered the house, that dishonesty introduced a measure of reasonable doubt that smart defense attorneys could exploit. Indeed, Gargiulo went on to kill again before finally being caught and convicted, and critics argue that this delay in justice might have been prevented had Ashton immediately alerted police and provided accurate information. Even though Ashton has never been accused of murder, his allegedly false statements lasted for years, casting a shadow over the prosecution's ability to swiftly build a solid case. As a result, Mila Kunis's unwavering support of Ashton has also fallen under scrutiny, with online observers questioning whether she is aware of the full extent of these allegations. The lingering public outcry centers on whether Ashton's alleged actions inadvertently hindered law enforcement's efforts, potentially costing additional lives. Unless Ashton addresses these claims head-on and provides evidence refuting them, questions about his role in complicating the prosecution of Ashley Ellerin's killer are likely to remain unanswered. Connection to Scientology and Danny Masterson. The connection between Ashton Kutcher, Danny Masterson, and Scientology has taken center stage in the ongoing debate over what may have really happened on the night Ashley Ellerin was killed, and how Mila Kunis's defense of Ashton has further inflamed public opinion. Critics argue that Ashton's phone call to Danny Masterson after discovering Ashley's body was less about seeking help and more about protecting his burgeoning career, a tactic allegedly advised by Masterson, a longtime Scientologist and Ashton's friend from That 70s Show. Their conversation, according to former Scientologist Chrissy Bixler, lasted over an hour, during which Ashton purportedly decided to leave Ashley's house and attend a party rather than alert the authorities. Scientology's reputed culture of secrecy has only intensified speculation that Masterson was able to exert considerable influence over Ashton's decision-making that night. Masterson has faced his own legal troubles, including recent convictions for sexual assault, and Ashton's unwavering support for him, along with Mila Kunis's public endorsement, has prompted many to wonder whether Masterson is safeguarding damaging information about the Ellerin case. Some former Scientologists have hinted that Ashton's association with the church, through Masterson, created a safety net, shielding him from consequences for any alleged dishonesty in his testimony regarding Ashley's death. Aaron Smith Levin, who runs a channel focused on Scientology issues, has presented detailed accounts of Ashton's alleged lies, attributing some information to former Scientologists close to Ashton and to LAPD detectives with direct knowledge of the investigation. These sources claim Ashton's fingerprints were at the crime scene, contradicting his official statement that he never entered Ashley's home. If true, critics say the false testimony introduced complications in prosecuting Michael Gargiulo, the serial killer responsible for Ashley's murder, ultimately allowing Gargiulo to strike again before he was finally caught. Mila Kunis's continued endorsement of Ashton, despite these serious allegations, has fueled questions about her own moral judgment, especially given her recent support for Masterson. By aligning herself with both Ashton and Danny in the face of mounting evidence, critics contend that Mila's support perpetuates a culture of silence and denial surrounding Scientology's potential reach. As long as key witnesses and former Scientologists continue to come forward, however, the connection between Scientology, Danny Masterson, and Ashton's possible cover-up is unlikely to fade from public view. Until Ashton and Mila address these accusations head-on, the controversy will remain a stain on their reputations, leaving many to wonder whether the truth about Ashley Ellerin's tragic death will ever be fully revealed. Calls for legal action. Calls for legal action have grown increasingly louder as more people learn about Ashton Kutcher's alleged conduct on the night Ashley Ellerin was brutally murdered. Critics, including former Scientologists like Chrissy Bixler and researcher Aaron Smith-Levin, have stepped forward with detailed claims that Ashton lied in his testimony during the murder investigation. Mila Kunis, who has publicly defended Ashton in the past, has also faced criticism for standing by him amid these damaging allegations. Both Chrissy and Aaron have issued a clear challenge. If their statements are untrue, Ashton should sue them for defamation. According to Chrissy, she overheard Ashton on speakerphone with Danny Masterson on February 21, 2001, the night Ashley was killed. Rather than calling the police when he discovered Ashley's body, Ashton allegedly spent more than an hour consulting his management, Danny, and others about protecting his career. Aaron Smith-Levin, meanwhile, has cited sources within the LAPD who reportedly confirmed Ashton entered Ashley's home, saw her slain, and panicked before leaving. These accounts directly contradict Ashton's public testimony, in which he insisted he only glanced through a window and saw what he initially thought was spilled wine on the floor. Critics argue that if Ashton's statements are indeed false, his testimony may have directly undermined the prosecution against Michael Gargiulo, the serial killer responsible for Ashley's murder. By allegedly lying to investigators, Ashton introduced reasonable doubt, which allowed Gargiulo to evade immediate justice and commit another homicide before being caught. While Ashton has not been accused of murder, many contend his alleged inaction and subsequent dishonesty demand accountability. Given the seriousness of these claims, it's no wonder the pressure is mounting for Ashton to pursue legal recourse if he believes he has been unfairly maligned. Mila Kunis's unwavering support for Ashton, even as these new revelations surface, has also placed her under scrutiny. Recent online discussions suggest that her strong defense of her husband may be rooted in preserving their family's public image. However, critics maintain that morality should outweigh reputation, urging Mila to reconsider her stance if there is substantial evidence Ashton misled authorities. Meanwhile, the overwhelming calls for legal action persist. Chrissy and Aaron have stated they welcome a lawsuit, standing by their claims and asserting they have enough corroborating information, both from the LAPD and former Scientologists close to Ashton, to support their allegations. Until Ashton decisively addresses these accusations in court or issues a thorough public explanation, the demands for legal action are unlikely to subside. For those seeking justice for Ashley Ellerin, this is no mere PR crisis. It is a question of truth, accountability, and the moral imperative to ensure no one is above the law.
The surprising divorce. In May 2023, Kevin Costner was caught off guard when his former wife, Christine Baumgartner, filed for a divorce. The divorce, which was filed just 5 months away from their 19th wedding anniversary, came as a big shock to Kevin because everything seemed fine.
Well, as if Kevin Costner leaving Yellowstone wasn't a big enough shock for him and all of his fans.
In fact, Kevin was on location in Utah, far from their home in California, where he was busy with the filming of the hit series, Yellowstone, when he got the news of the divorce. While there has been no clear explanation from both parties on why Christine Baumgartner was filing for a divorce, Christine briefly cited in the divorce filing that she was doing so due to irreconcilable differences. However, sources claim that 49-year-old Christine was unhappy in their marriage. Her unhappiness may be linked to Kevin's busy schedules and unavailability, especially in recent years due to his large involvement in the TV hit series Yellowstone. Before you judge Kevin Costner, see how things turned out in the most unexpected way. Kevin, being a major character in the series, had spent a significant amount of his time on set, especially in 2023 and on other acting projects. Apparently, Christine wanted him to start spending more time with her and the kids. She probably expressed her plight a whole lot of times but never got him to yield. His burning passion certainly got the best of him that he didn't notice the weakening foundations of his marriage until tired Christine filed for a divorce. When news about their divorce got out, everyone was shocked. The sudden turn of events in the couple's life got fans and the media community talking, once again bringing attention to the constant failed marriages seen in the entertainment industry. It was all speculation and gossip until a representative of Kevin Costner released a joint statement confirming that the couple's marital story was coming to a sudden end. In the statement, he expressed how it was saddening that circumstances beyond Costner's control have transpired, which have resulted in him having to participate in a dissolution of marriage action. He added that they were asking that Costner's, Christine's, and their children's privacy be respected as they go through such a difficult time, even in the midst of their legal tension. Kevin Costner and estranged wife Christine Baumgartner both made it clear to the public that their main focus was on the custody and support for their 3 kids, Caden, aged 15, Hayes, aged 14, and only daughter Grace, aged 12. This seemed like a peaceful cooperation between the two despite the divorce, until Christine did something surprising. After filing for a divorce, Christine still refused to leave her marital home and continued to occupy the residence. According to their premarital agreement, however, she had 30 days to leave the house owned by Kevin Costner after filing for divorce. But Christine went against the agreement and remained in the residence after over a month of filing a divorce. She threatened to not leave the property until a proper child support had been put into order and accused Costner of being an inconsiderate father. Anyway, Costner made a request to the court asking that Christine be blocked from occupying his personal properties as they had agreed in their prenup. Christine was ordered by the judge to evacuate the residence by 31st of July. By the time Christine had evacuated Costner's home, she filed a petition on her filing of the 1st of May, requesting joint custody of the 3 children. The next day, Costner responded in agreement, requesting joint custody of the kids. They expressed that they didn't mind co-parenting, despite what had unfolded between them. What about child support for the children? Are they going to reach a peaceful agreement? Keep watching to find out. Christine Baumgartner had originally requested a whopping sum of $250,000 for child support, but the court turned it down and temporarily fixed it at $129,000 as of June 2023, leaving Costner stunned and Christine feeling victorious at the end of the day. Regardless of being granted a large settlement, Christine took a greedy step, demanding for an increase in the present $129,000. To the surprise of everyone, especially Costner, she requested an additional sum of $32,000. Her request filing, which did not include a request for spousal maintenance, was channeled in proving Costner's capability and the standard of living she wanted the children to continue with. She claimed Costner's 2022 income was over $19 million, and their family's expenses, excluding taxes, was $6,645,285. In addition to her claims, the family's net income after expenses and taxes was excluded was estimated at over $7 million. She also cited other expenses such as regular travel to the Caribbean, Hawaii, and Aspen, as well as regular hosting of guests, which required caterers. Baumgartner claimed in the filing that her financial demand is less than the amount needed to maintain the children in their accustomed lifestyle, and requested that Costner pay 100% of private school tuition, extracurricular activities or sports, and healthcare expenses for their 3 children.
I can describe them all based on one event. I had like a 3-year-old girl, 4-year-old boy, a 6-year-old boy, and they're going to get their flu shot. And my 6-year-old boy is a brave boy. He's tough.
Caden, Hayes, and Grace. The events which took place afterwards will leave you speechless. Rising court battles. Proceedings up for the hearing requested by Christine's team for the $161,000 per month was held in Santa Barbara Court, California, where they both resided. Kevin Costner hired Laura Wasser, the celebrity divorce attorney who recently represented Kim Kardashian in her divorce from her husband Ye. On the other hand, Christine was represented by renowned divorce attorney John Rydell, known for specializing in high-profile cases, such as the current case with Kevin Costner. On that day, the courtroom was extremely tense. The rising dispute between both parties concerning child support was already making headlines. The main contention was the excessive child support Baumgartner was seeking for their 3 children. Asking for an additional $32,000 to her present $129,000 per month settlement temporarily fixed in June 2023 was something nobody ever saw coming. The hearing began with Christine's perspective. She contended that the new property she moved into, after leaving Costner's luxurious apartment, which costs $40,000 per month, was not on the same level as Costner's $73 million beachfront residence. Crying, Christine expressed frustration that their new property lacked an ocean view, as in Costner's residence. She complained the quality of life in their new home didn't compare to their old marital residence. Confidently, she adjusted her glasses while making the argument that the children should spend time with her in a beachside home costing $150,000 per month, a property she planned to rent after her 6-month lease ended. She said Costner's living expenses were up to $240,000 per month, and so he should be able to cover the demands. However, forensic accountant Tracy Katz noted that a significant portion of the costs she claimed to be Costner's expenses were actually hers. Katz shared a breakdown of the said $240,000 monthly expenses, which revealed that Christine spent an average of $18,000 per month on designer clothing and more than $3,000 per month on beauty products and treatments. On top of the substantial child support obligations, Baumgartner's group closed with a demand for Costner to also cover an estimated legal fee exceeding $800,000, after which Laura Wasser, the attorney for Kevin Costner, started their own hearing. She started by making a brief statement. She stated that Christine had made unreasonable money requests and dismissed the idea that the Costner kids care about ocean views or the things that happen in their father's Aspen ranch in their absence. Wasser informed the court that the Costner family does not lead a luxurious lifestyle.
And then we have to go do our jobs, and then we have to go get our kids at school, and then we have to go do something. But the movies have always been a place for us.
Typically associated with movie stars. He mentioned that the children do not wear designer clothes, drive expensive cars, and go to regular public schools. She informed the court that Costner no longer possesses his own personal aircraft and remarked that she has never ever encountered a child support claim of that magnitude, even in Los Angeles. Wasser and Costner also accused Christine of wanting to rely on child support payments for expenses, even after receiving a $1.5 million payout upon divorce, as outlined in their prenuptial agreement. The attorney referred to Baumgartner's criticized new house as being amazing. She noted features in it similar to her former home. It included amenities such as a jacuzzi, which Costner's residence lacks. At the end, Wasser labeled Baumgartner's demands as outrageous and mentioned that a second trial will take place regarding the prenuptial agreement and her plea for spousal support. The second hearing revealed things we never expected. Second day of court battle. On the second day of hearing, Kevin Costner arrived in a fancy navy blue suit, looking professional and composed as usual. On the other side, Christine Baumgartner arrived with her legal team dressed in a classic black outfit and maintained a strong composure. In the courtroom, Kevin Costner expressed his dissatisfaction with the recent court order of $129,000. He conveyed his concern that the child support amount exceeded the reasonable needs of the children and was more of what Christine needed. In a sense, he'd indirectly be providing spousal support for Christine. He stated that the high financial demands could also deplete his funds rapidly, potentially leading him to accept jobs he did not want to accept and work longer hours than he desires. He added that he was facing challenges with his income due to a fallout from Yellowstone and a disappointing yield from his major film project Horizon, and so his future earnings might be unable to meet Christine's high demands. Also, he mentioned the risk of losing his properties in Aspen and California, which he had worked hard to build as havens for himself, his family, and friends. At last, the judge ruling the case, Thomas P. Anderley, considered both sides, particularly Costner's situation, and came to a final verdict. The child support earlier fixed at $129,000 per month was greatly slashed to $63,000 per month. Judge Anderley stated in a press release that Christine's demands were excessive and more than what the children would realistically require. The ruling brought the intense battle to a stop, leaving Costner victorious. However, Costner in an interview said they were no winners and claimed he still had love for his ex-wife Christine. If he still loved her, how did their marriage turn so sour? Their previous court battle in November raised new information that got everyone talking. Pay attention, because this information could give you an insight to what really brought the 19 years marriage to an abrupt end. So during the court battle, it became public that while Kevin Costner was in and out of town, Christine Baumgartner got entangled in an emotional relationship with their former next-door neighbor, who also is a friend to Kevin. The man had also recently divorced his wife. Apparently, Kevin Costner wasn't the only one burnt up in some passion. Kevin accused her of having an affair with the rich financier who we now know as Josh Connor. Christine, however, denied the accusations of having an affair with the man, saying Connor was a family friend, and their relationship was strictly platonic, and Connor was just an emotional support, being a divorced father. According to sources, even in the midst of their divorce proceedings, Christine had gone on an expensive vacation with the so-called family friend in July 2023. They were spotted at a beach in Hawaii, having a good time under the sun. Christine was seen in a purple dress and dark sunglasses walking right beside Connor, who was shirtless in a pair of shorts. They certainly looked like they were enjoying each other's company. Well, evidence countering their claims were sourced out stating Christine had received $20,000 from Josh Connor. Christine's attorney, John Rydell, countered this by saying Connor lent Christine the money because she confided in him about her financial situation due to the divorce. She also added that Christine wasn't alone with Connor at Hawaii, but they were with the children and some friends. Even after their divorce was finalized, Christine and Connor were spotted outside being all lovey-dovey. A close friend of Christine says Josh was initially just a friend, and Christine liked hanging out with him. She added that he is a divorced dad and understands what she's going through. They both love the ocean and beach life, and it is something that makes Christine happy. Meanwhile, Costner is said to be dissatisfied and filled with bitterness due to the pair's relationship. A source told the National Enquirer that Kevin is extremely unhappy and resentful seeing Christine and Josh looking so happy and making plans for their future together.
Kevin Costner and his wife Christine going their separate ways after 18 years of marriage.
You don't know what people are going to feel.
A rep for the actor confirms the split in a statement, telling ET that due to circumstances beyond his control, Christine's dissolution of marriage filing is moving forward.
Kevin Costner and Christine Baumgartner's marriage ended. Ultimately, Baumgartner filed the divorce paperwork.
Kevin Costner's wife has just lost her place in his life. With months of silence after a very public and messy breakup, Christine Baumgartner, Kevin's now ex-wife, has made many eye-opening statements with surprising details about their marriage and divorce. Not only did she open up about the real problems that led to the end of their marriage, she also let the world know how she's faring as a new divorcee.
Christine Baumgartner have gone their separate ways after 18 years of marriage.
What exactly did she say, and what else has happened to her? Join us as we reveal the reasons behind their divorce and what has just happened to Christine Baumgartner, the start of the ex-couple's romance. After Kevin Costner ended his first marriage to Cindy, he went through a lot of different experiences in the dating world. Eventually, he found love again with Christine Baumgartner, who is a model and handbag designer. They started dating in 1998, and after being together for 6 years,
Kevin Costner is getting back into the dating scene. The 69-year-old actor recently bragged about knowing how to meet women.
They decided to get married, but little did they know they would end up parting ways like Kevin did with Cindy. Just a couple of years after their wedding, they welcomed their first child, Caden Wyatt, in February 2007. This happy moment was soon followed by the birth of their second son, Hayes Logan, in February 2009, and then their daughter, Grace Avery, who came along in June 2016. Now, Kevin's family includes not only his kids with Christine, but also his 4 older children from previous relationships, Annie, Lily, Joe, and Liam. While sparks were still flying between the ex-couple, in interviews, Kevin often shared how much he appreciates Christine and how they built a lively and loving home together. In fact, in November 2 years ago, he shared his heartfelt feelings about Christine in a statement to the media, saying that his wife did things that made a huge difference in their lives. He mentioned that she made their home more beautiful and warm. He believed that her little actions were a reflection of love and that she had a special way of making their home feel inviting. This showed how strong their bond was and how much he appreciated having her by his side. But their seemingly perfect family life suddenly had one unexpected problem.
Kevin Costner is getting candid about the difficulties he's faced amid his recent divorce and his work life.
In early May last year, A spokesperson for the actor known for Field of Dreams confirmed to the media that he and Baumgartner were going their separate ways after she filed for divorce.